Johanna. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a flip through of my new personal journal. So I've just finished making this journal for myself. This is going to be my new junk journal that I'll be working in for at least probably half of 2019. So give or take, depending on how long this lasts me. Hopefully it'll last me at least half the year. It would be good if it lasted me the whole year, but I don't think it will, even though it's quite a big size. So I kind of rushed this book because I really needed to get a journal made for myself so that I had something to work in. And so I have just kind of put this together really quickly, but I'm really happy with how this turned out. I didn't really know what I was going to do for the cover, so this was kind of like a spontaneous design, and I think it's one of my favorites that I've done actually. I really like how it turned out. So firstly, the size of this book, about 7 inches by about a little bit less than 10, and then I made the spine really wide. I made the spine 3 inches wide, and I did that so that I would have lots of room to grow. I've still filled this journal out quite a bit, so probably not as much growing room as I'm actually going to need, but there's enough for me to fill this out a bit before it gets too bulky. So it has 10 signatures, which you can see aren't very evenly spaced either, because this was a journal for myself. I just eyeballed everything, and so that's kind of what I get for not measuring things out, but it doesn't bother me too much. It just means that towards the back things are going to be a little bit more compact and I'll have to add a little bit less chunk towards the back. Also added my usual little beads on the spine, so I've got buttons, and I've got some old things here that I had on a different journal which I took off and put on this one instead, so like really old things from my friends. This is my cat's old little name tag, and then I've just got lots of beads and buttons and charms on there. So on the front of the book I decided to glue down an old hanky. This one was really sheer, so it worked really well. It's kind of like decoupage, and it has this embroidery with the beautiful little flowers. So this particular hanky is actually in one of my printable linen packs in my Etsy shop as well, but I decided to use the original on my book. And then I've got my usual little window design, and in here I stuck this image of the 3 children, 2 boys and a little girl, and I just thought that that kind of represented my own kids, so I just liked the meaning behind that. And then the back's just plain blue, and I really like the colour of this book. I've never actually done a blue journal for myself, even though it's my favourite colour, so I love how that turned out. And then of course I've got the closure here with the eyelets, so I've just got some vintage lace tied on for a closure. So I have known for a while that I wanted to do my next journal as a Disney journal, and so as you guys can tell, this journal cover isn't Disney and the insides aren't Disney either, but I'm going to be adding things in as I go, kind of bring an element of the Disney theme. So I'll explain that a little bit more as I go, but basically I tried to choose colours and prints and papers that were kind of light and airy and nothing that's too dark. I wanted it to have kind of like a youthful airy feel to it, I guess. I don't really know how else to describe it, but I picked papers that I thought would go well with vintage Disney ephemera, which I will show you guys what I've kind of accumulated to put in here at the end of this video. So for the end paper I did this beautiful, this is a paper by Craft, Teddy Bear's Picnic collection, and so I had some extra sheets of this. I'm saving some for my daughter's dollhouse as wallpaper, but I had some extras, so I made that the end papers. I also stitched pockets on the front and back papers of the book so that it kind of tied in with the end papers and matched. And then I'm just going to take you through all the pages that I have in here. So I've got lots of scrapbook paper in here, and a lot of the scrapbook paper that I put in here is left over from Rue's first year baby album. So when I was pregnant with Rue, I bought and collected a bunch of pretty papers to use in her first year album, and so they came in like lots of packs of 5s and 10s. I had a bit left over and I put it all together for my own journal, and I like the way that they look together. So there's also some vintage music paper pages in here, and some vintage ledger paper. And then every now and again I've sewn on like a little tuck pocket or something. So some more paper. This is the middle of the signature and this is a big pocket. And I did tea dye all of the scrapbook paper that was single-sided. So the double-sided scrapbook paper I didn't tea dye, I just tea dyed whatever had white blank sides. Couple sheets of book paper in here. This is a pocket that I've stitched. This is some embroidery pattern paper. And then I've also got some pattern paper envelopes which I just sewed to reinforce where they were a bit weak. And those are just pockets which you can journal underneath as well. So I used a lot of papers from crepe paper. I also used a lot of Maggie Holmes design papers and some October Afternoon papers in here. This is just a little cutout from some book page which I made a pocket out of. More ledger paper. This was sent to me by my friend Marge, so I stitched it onto a page so I could use it as a pocket. Some children's dictionary paper. This is an old envelope that my nana had written on, so I just wanted to stitch it in here. It's kind of nice to have like a piece of someone's handwriting, especially someone who's passed away, so I stitched that on as a big pocket. And then there's another one of those Simplicity pattern envelopes there. More fun little papers and pockets. And I like to keep most of the pages pretty blank. I don't like to add too much embellishments or pockets or anything before I actually use the journal, because I like to have sort of a big blank space to work with so that I can get completely creative with it as I actually use the book. So there's nothing too fancy in here, just lots of pretty papers to play with later. More pockets. There's the other side. So there's another Simplicity pocket. This one I just made out of some of the actual instruction paper, and I just sewed it so that it has pockets down there, and then you can flip it down and journal behind it. This is another full-size pocket in the middle of the signature, and then there's a fold-out page there. Another fold-out page. Here's a little bit of embroidery which I made into a pocket, and then the other side of that is over here. And then I also had this little bit of embroidery that Marge also sent me in, so I just stitched it along the top just to decorate the page a little bit and to give it like a bit of texture. Another big fold-out page. More ledger paper. I put in one of these Cluedo sheets. My sisters and I have been playing Cluedo together a lot lately, and it's lots of fun, so I put this in there sort of for the sentiment of that. More paper. Really pretty papers in here, some of my favourite papers ever. Nice pockets here with the pretty scalloped edge of the paper. That paper's from the Little Bo Peep collection by Crepe Paper. Another Simplicity pattern envelope. This paper's upside down, but doesn't matter. More pretty paper, and towards the back there's a fold out for the last page, and then like I said, there's that pocket made out of the same paper from the end papers. So that's what I've got for the actual bones of the book, and then I'm gonna show you sort of what my plans are for using it. So like I said, I wanted to do a Disney journal at some point, and so I tried to choose papers in here that I thought kind of either reminded me of Disney or looked sort of youthful and playful and sort of had a light colour palette. And then I've been collecting some Disney ephemera that I can add in here as I go to add that Disney element to the book without it being completely Disney, because I don't know, I didn't want the whole thing to just be Disney, because the book's going to be about my day-to-day life, I suppose, and not really about Disney. So I wanted to have fun with the Disney elements, but I didn't want to make it all about Disney. So I have some Disney postcards. I've got a postcard box of Disney, and so I just went through and pulled out some of my favorite designs, and so I can use some of these in the book as I go. It just kind of reminds me of my childhood, I guess, and who doesn't love Disney? So cute. So lots of Disney postcards. I've got little bits and pieces out of books. This fell out of a book that I got at the op shop. So it's one of those little Viewmaster cards, which is pretty cool. And then I've also got some images, just like Google images, and some Disney postcards and maps and stuff in there. So that's just stuff that I can use to decorate the book and, like I said, add in that Disney element. I also have this tin of stuff. So this is stuff I'm also going to use to decorate the book, and this is decorative papers and scraps. So mostly vintage papers, but some little scraps of pattern paper and stuff. There's like book page clippings in here. There is some paint chips and some playing cards. Just little ephemera bits and pieces that didn't come from my personal life. They're just mostly vintage bits and pieces of writing paper and some patterned paper and book illustrations and stuff. So I can use this stuff to decorate the pages because it's all sort of in line with my style and stuff that I love the look of. And then the other box that I have is my personal ephemera, so stuff that comes from my day-to-day life. This can be leftover photos and stuff that comes in the mail, or things from friends and family like notes and stuff like that. And I can just pull from this box whenever I want to add sort of memories from my real life and stick them onto the page to give it more real life substance. And this just catches everything that I collect, because I usually collect things a lot faster than I can actually put them into my book. So I keep all of that stuff just in a drawer at my desk, and then I can just sort of throw things in there and pull them out whenever I'm working in my junk journal. So that is my new journal, you guys. You'll see me using this in my Junk Journal With Me playlist from now on. And I will have a Junk Journal With Me process video coming soon, I hope. Stay tuned if you'd like to see me work in this book. I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, and if you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.